Welcome, one and all, to the pilot edition of the Marketing Overdrive Podcast. I'm your host, Greg Kalikas, being joined by Rose Browning, the Director of Media Services at Ennis Majori. Rose, it's an absolute pleasure to get an opportunity to do this podcast with you. Frankly, it's long overdue. I know we had tried to connect before to make this happen. Here we are, finally.
I'm so excited to be here. It's going to be awesome.
It is. So just to give you guys an idea of what you can expect from the Marketing Overdrive podcast, and really the reason that we decided to do this, and of course for me personally, podcasts are a marketing tool. And first and foremost, podcasts give us the ability to reach an audience, a larger audience, and of course to build credibility. And anyone in our industry, regardless of what industry you have, you want to have credibility. So selfishly, that's one of the reasons that, I explored this opportunity. But I think more so, and I think this is where you come in, we want to provide value to the listeners. And, by value, every week we're going to do what we call our industry news topic. And, that could be industry trends. It could be specific news, whether it's a major brand that's launching this, incredible campaign with new technology, expert insight, of course, and that's really what the foundation of the show is going to be about. Each episode, you're going to hear from a live guest, and they're going to talk about their story, what they've had to overcome to get to where they're at. And of course, there's going to be a marketing tie into it. It is a marketing podcast. So we're going to hit on traditional aspects of marketing and, of course, digital marketing. But make no mistake about it, Rose, the foundation of this podcast is going to be our guest.
For sure.
And then, of course, we want to provide a little bit of entertainment. So we're going to try to do something fun every episode, whether it's a top 5 or top 10 list, or we were kicking around the segment of stupid things that marketers do, which could be pretty interesting.
There are many to go through. Very
many. So again, that's in a nutshell what really you can expect from the Marketing Overdrive podcast. And really, we're doing this pilot to really give you an understanding of who we are as people, as marketers, and why we're qualified to host a podcast like this. So, Rose, why don't we start with you? Because I know you've got quite the fascinating story. If you could give us the somewhat PG version, if you don't mind.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. So, Greg, I think you introduced me well. Rose, I work for Ennis Majori in Canton. Love it there. And, director of media. So just to kind of give you, where I'm at. So, when I think about my story, I'm not going to go all the way back, toddler days, but my story really began when I was around 16. I graduated high school early. I moved out on my own, kind of started life early. I worked 3 jobs. I started college early. Quickly realized that, I was a little young for college, and it was just overwhelming. There was a lot going on. So I took a break from college, but what I found was I really liked to fight.
Shocker.
Shocker. And not just random, fights. I found myself, fighting in a street fighting group. And just really loved it, but every piece of it was very street fight-esque, right? I don't know if that's a word, but, I was getting out my emotion. I was, fighting with other people who had all these emotions to show. We just didn't know how to do it. So what happened from there was I was picked up by an Olympic boxing trainer, in Fontana, California. A great boxing club, and he not only taught me how to hone in on those fighting skills that I had and bring those in a little bit, but how to find the passion. Why was I doing it? Honing in on those skills and saying, what emotion is driving this? Is it anger? Is it sadness? Is it happy? right? Because I loved to, get in a ring and hit people and have them hit me. And what was driving that? So I was able to really understand myself better and where those things were coming from. So that's kind of when I started to realize that I had passions and I had a purpose, and it was really important to get it out there in a more constructive way. Not that fighting isn't constructive.
There's people listening that have worked with you, but maybe don't know you personally right now that are, I can only imagine the facial expression they have.
Yes. Well, when I do tell people, I think it's a bit of a shock. If you do know me, now you kind of think you're fighting, like where, what? Because I'm a completely different person now. Right. But, I do attribute that to that trainer, just an amazing person and having the ability to teach me how to hone those skills. And I know he did it for many other people. The club itself did it for many other people. Kids even, we were all different ages there, from, kids on up to adults. And it was just an amazing experience to go through. But again, like I said, it made me realize that anything you do in life, you should have passion for it. You should have a drive for it. There should be a purpose behind what you're doing. And so, while it took me a while to get to marketing from there, obviously, that was young in my days. And I worked a lot of different jobs, restaurants and, all sorts of stuff. And I did went back to college and got a degree in organizational development. And I found myself, at an agency where I got to hone skills and learn about marketing and learn about media. And all of a sudden, again, I'm like, this is amazing. And I found a passion in it. And it wasn't necessarily that it was just a passion for marketing, but it was the idea behind it, right? So people have a desire for a product, for a service. Sometimes they don't necessarily know what it is even, right? But they have a desire, a passion, for whatever reason, a product, a service should speak to them. It should have something behind it that says, like, this is the product or brand for you. And that's the part that really sunk into me. And so then I broke out into this piece where I wanted to start understanding people better, right? Like, why do these things? Why does it, incite one feeling in another, and then another person could, not like it at all? So I, start diving down that, data piece of what makes people, that, the targeting and the audiences of, why does one person fall into this group and another that? And then I, found myself at this amazing agency, Innis Majori, in Canton. And I may be biased, but amazing people, amazing, executives, the people who are kind of driving the company itself are just, ready to give growth and camaraderie and great culture. And, you walk through here, or you work here, and it's filled with passion. Everybody here just has passion for what they do. We have some amazing clients, I'm thinking like Altman Health Systems, who focuses on a customer intimacy. Like they're the best in, a one-to-one relationship with their customers. And then we have Perfect Power Wash, who are just the pros in what they do. They're the pros in power washing. And, they're in Cleveland, Columbus, Pittsburgh, and coming alongside them as their agency. It's wonderful to work with them. It's wonderful to work with clients who also have a passion and want to deliver a service or a product to people it's not bad. It's good. They're not just trying to sell something, right? It has a purpose behind it. So, along the way, I had a family and I have an amazing support system. My husband is fantastic. He stays home with the kids, and we have 4 beautiful, amazing children. And we try to inspire them every day to find those passions. So, just going into like, the Simon Sinek.
Finding your why.
Finding your why. And what I have found over the years is mine is to inspire others through action, change, and growth so that they can find a passion and share it.
You actually brought your why.
I brought my why because it means so much to me. It means the world to me. So I know that's kind of like a brief how I got where I'm at, but at the end of the day, and I know I've said it, but if you don't have passion in what you do, I think Gary Vaynerchuk says it best, right? Like if you're waiting for Friday and you're hating Monday, you're doing the wrong thing.
Oh.
You're at the wrong place. And I've been there. I've been there through the years, and I can absolutely say that it's not a way to live. And so when you're at that place, you're in the industry, you're at a place that just gives you that fulfillment, it means everything.
That's incredible. And that's really what this podcast ultimately is about. And we talked about having guests that, can come on and inspire and share their story and how they got into a situation, a job, whatever it is that they truly love. They wake up in the morning, have that joy and passion. And I've been there too, where, man, it's that Sunday night terror when that work week starts again on Monday and you just dread it. And the toll that has on you physically and mentally, it's something. So I'm with you. I'm, very lucky that, I ended up in a position that I'm at. We had kind of a different but similar path, so to speak. Yep. And I know you left a lot of good stuff out, but
hey,
I see what you're doing.
Ask questions. I'm more than happy to answer.
Well, I do have a question.
Okay.
Let's say you don't run into that boxing promoter. Would you have, because I'm a firm believer, you know me, everything happens for a reason.
For sure.
Do you think somehow life would have still brought you to this point where you are doing what you're doing today with this job, this career, this family? If that boxing guy doesn't show up there, where is Rose Browning today?
Let's see, PG. It's so hard because like you said, things happen for a reason and, people are put in our path for a reason. I'm a big believer in no regrets, right? Like if I sit here and I regret, the things I've done, the things, people have done to me, if I think about, terrible things, that I went through to get here, I don't regret them because everything that I've gone through has made me who I am now. Yep. And I'm happy to be this person. So, I definitely haven't sat and thought, what if he never came along? But honestly, I have to say, I don't know. I hope I would have found, marketing and media because it is truly a passion. And, other people tell me all the time, they can see it. It's definitely what I love. But no, I think if he wouldn't have come along, I would have stayed a street fighter and not gone back to college. And, would I hope that I'm here now? Yes. And do I think I would have met my husband anyway? Absolutely. Because I think he would have found me no matter what.
I would agree with that statement. Knowing Roger, you guys would have somehow still found each other. And honestly, sure. I can't, I'm trying to picture you doing something other than marketing and maybe fighting in the UFC. I don't know. That I could picture that. But marketing it's what you were born to do.
I feel like it. And hey, UFC was not alive when I was street fighting. There were years later when it became a thing where I was like, really? Now you come out with female UFC? Like, where was this years ago? So, I definitely, that it may have been where I ended up. So. Yeah.
Awesome. Amazing story. Well, again, you mentioned the UFC and that kind of has a role in my story. And I guess I'm going to go more towards the entrepreneurial side because really that's, since I can remember being in elementary school, I still remember in third grade, me and a buddy had a private detective agency. We would go around and, people would pay us 10 cents to find their pencil or calculator or whatever the hell it was. Paper routes, all that stuff. So, literally going back to the earliest I can remember, I always had that entrepreneurial mindset. And even graduating high school way back in 1992, I ended up going to college, and second year, my best friend from high school plants this idea in my head. He's like, why don't we start our own business? Screw school. We know people, we're hustlers, we're smart. Let's just do our own thing. So of course, I'm an idiot. I drop out of school in my second year. We go out and, round up the capital. We had a little bit of savings, borrowed some money from family and friends, and we were going to open a sporting goods store called Collegiate Crown. We were going to sell baseball caps. This is in the early 90s.
Okay.
And we were serious about it. We had gone around to all the big conventions, struck distribution deals. Long story short, at the very last minute, the week we were supposed to sign our lease, get into our building, one of our investors backs out, so that dream came crashing to a halt immediately. So instead of going back to school, what did I do? Knocked up my girlfriend at the age of 20 years old. So I had to quickly step into the real world. And luckily, she stuck with me. She's, Christy. We're married today happily, so it's got a happy ending. But I went into the construction business, had to earn a real check. And of course, as I'm working, doing drywall, in the back of my mind, I'm like, I could do this better than this guy. I can run my own crew. And sure enough, within a few months, that's what I did. Rounded up a crew, started to connect with some of the local contractors, started my own drywall business. And that's really kind of where the story takes a turn for the better ultimately. This is where the game changed for me. So during that time, I'm playing rec league softball with, all my buddies, beer league stuff. And I know if Christy's listening to this right now, she's rolling her eyes. I can hear her doing it because she's heard this so many times. But freak accident, turning a double play on the infield, slow developing play, guy slides late, ultimately shatters my leg, slides right through me. I remember looking down and my ankle was facing one way. There was a bone sticking out this way. Major issues. So 3 surgeries later, 2 steel rods, pins, plates, all that stuff. If you looked at an x-ray of my leg, it would look like a mechanical leg. I'm, out of commission for 6-7 months. So I'm in bed. I have nothing else to do but listen to sports talk radio, right? I mean, that's what I did. So Kenny Rhoda, a name that you'll probably hear during the course of this podcast, huge sports personality here in the area. I get this great idea. Let me email Kenny. I've got an idea for a sports talk radio show. Let's call it Rumor Has It. Let's talk about sports trades in Cleveland with the Browns, the Cavs, the Indians. Not thinking anything of it. I fire off the email a couple of days later. He responds, says, hey, thanks for listening. I kind of like your show idea. Why don't you come up here? I'll introduce you with the program manager and you can pitch it to him. So I'm like, wow, all right. I go up. He introduces me to a guy named Paul Belfi. Now, Paul Belfi at that time, and this was in 2000, had just launched a little website called sportstalkcleveland.com. So sportstalkcleveland.com was one of the first streaming websites in addition to ESPN. Of course, they were still the big dog in the area. But ultimately, they had partnered with a local radio station and became the online home for what is ESPN Cleveland today. So I talked to Paul and tell him my idea, and the whole, concept behind the radio station, a digital radio station, was to cover sports, niche sports. So stuff like, lacrosse and MMA and kickboxing. And I'm a lifelong martial artist. I've been in the martial arts since I was 7 years old. My family had a martial arts school in Canton. We used to do the whole sport karate circuit, my brother and I. So during the course of my conversation, this comes out, and he's fascinated. He's like, so wait a minute. So you guys go and travel and do all these, Daniel LaRusso tournaments and all this stuff. He's like, is there a following? I'm like, yeah, some of these tournaments have 2,000 to 3,000 competitors. He's like, you've got a show. Let's give you a show on Sunday night.
Wow.
Talk about these tournaments, results, bring some of the guests on. So, of course, I'm like, what the hell? I don't know any better. No broadcasting experience. He just kind of throws me in there. My brother comes on the show. We're hosting it together. And, wouldn't you know, the damn thing starts to take off. We start to interview UFC fighters. Next thing you know, I've got a direct line to Dana White. He's coming on the show. And one of my normal guests, and I know this is getting a little long-winded, so stop me if it's getting boring.
No, this is great.
he tells me, hey, look, I've been on your show. You guys have got to build an audience. Have you ever thought about promoting events yourself? I'm like, promoting what events? He's like, this thing that's getting big, it's called cage fighting, mixed martial arts. You talk about it, you cover it. Why don't you promote a show here in Cleveland? And he's already doing events in Milwaukee. One of the first promoters outside of the UFC to actually start doing MMA events. So I was like, what the hell? Let's do it. Didn't know what the hell I was doing, but he was like, I'll help you. I'll come in. I've done this. You can be the legs on the street, sell tickets. I'll help you put the infrastructure together on the back end. So, of course, I learned a lot. We decided to do the show, rent out the Gray's Armory in downtown Cleveland, about 1,800 seat venue, sold out 4 weeks before the night of the event. So, of course, we have to do this again. We do it again. We keep doing it, and the NAAFS is born. It's a promotion, and that's really where I got my first experience in having to build a brand from scratch. And again, I'm sure we're going to talk about this throughout the series, but the NAAFS for me was, just an incredible opportunity, not just to really learn, the ins and outs of real marketing, on the street level type of marketing. But it was a great opportunity to build relationships and connect with people. And ultimately, at the end of the day, doing what I do now, being a director of sales, it's all about relationships. And that was really kind of where I started to learn how to build those relationships, had to go out and sell sponsorships, had to figure out a way where we can really stand apart in a sport that's new. Not a lot of people knew about it. So we were fortunate enough at that time, Sports Time Ohio caught an interest in us. So we ended up cutting a TV deal with Sports Time Ohio, which changed the game for us. As you can imagine, at that point, all the top talent wanted to come fight in the NAAFS, not only because we were on television, but I had also built a relationship with the UFC. So from that spawned a management company, because as all these fighters are coming up through the circuit, once they get to the point where they're UFC caliber, they're going to need someone that can handle their day-to-day operations, their marketing, their sponsorship. So we started getting into managing athletes. And ultimately, we had some success there, managed a few, top 10 UFC fighters. One is a current world champion today. No names, please. But again, all that to say, it led me to the road that ultimately brought me here. And what a convoluted way it was, right? So I go into an agency, and this agency has been building the website for the NAAFS, for my promotion. Didn't really understand what they did other than they build websites and do some marketing stuff. So I go in to talk to them about sponsoring one of my athletes. And as it happens, they're hiring that day. There's people coming in and out. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? And they're like, well, we're hiring for national sales director. And he jokingly said, are you interested? And as it was, I was going to the University of Akron to get a sports marketing degree. Didn't pan out, but that was kind of a love I had back at the time.
For sure.
So you have to understand, Rose, I'm 14, 15 years into this NAAFS grind at that point. So not only are we, all over the country doing events, we could do an NAAFS show in Weirton, West Virginia on Friday, and then turn around and do another one in Columbus, Ohio on Saturday. Luckily, I had a great team. You know what they say, good business people get people smarter than them around them. And that's what I did. If it wasn't for my team, we wouldn't have got anywhere, believe me. So again, I'm talking to this person. I'm thinking about, at home, all the stress and travel and, the sports starting to change. The UFC cut a deal with Fox Sports. I knew that was going to impact my television deal. So it was like a sign from God, like, hey, here's an opportunity. If you're looking to move move down a different path, I'm giving you one here. So I thought about it long and hard, and I decided to make the move. Just leave the NAAFS behind, abruptly basically stop everything. And I'm the kind of person that if I'm going to do something, I'm going to put everything I have into it. So it's literally what I did. Put my application in, was lucky to fortunately be hired. And then that really gave me that agency background that I was really missing. I had the experience with the brands. I had the experience working with individuals, but I didn't have that agency experience. So that kind of brought the whole, marketing full circle for me. here we are. And I won't bore you guys any further as far as how I got to your business marketer, but let's just say it was an incredible opportunity. Again, everything happens for a reason. And it literally is just the perfect situation for me. And again, one of those things where I wake up every morning, I'm grateful that, I enjoy what I do. I have a passion for it like you. I feel that I'm good at it. But if I would ever thought, 20, 25 years ago that I would be here today, and not that we still have a long way to go. We haven't done shit yet, by the way. We still have a lot more to accomplish, but it's just crazy how it's come full circle.
Yeah, I love it.
So that's our story.
Well, so you asked me, so, going all the way back, Rhodes doesn't reply to the email.
Kenny Rhoda doesn't reply to that email. Interesting. I don't know, Rose. I don't know.
No, you have to.
I would have probably kept pursuing it because I'm a stubborn bastard. So I would have probably sent a few more emails or called. But yeah, really, if he would have never responded, I don't know. I'd have probably healed up, gone back to the drywall business, and
that would have been it.
That would have been it.
Wow.
So yeah, it's
all right.
It's crazy. So that's our story.
That's our story.
That's how we
to it.
Yeah, that's how we came to be here, and now we're hosting a marketing podcast of all things.
I know. Who would have thought?
And again, super excited. We've got our next episode. Emmett Golden is going to be our first guest.
I am so excited to hear.
And I can assure you, fans, if you're not familiar with Emmett Golden, just one of the most genuine human beings you can imagine, and I'm sure that'll come through in his interview. Host ESPN, locally here in Cleveland, but also a national host. So he's going to be our first guest on the next episode of the Marketing Overdrive podcast. And that's it. I think we're going to bring it to a close. I want to thank your business marketer for. Do you want to do that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. One more thing before we close.
Yep.
We're going to do something with all of our guests that's called the Fast Five. So I figured
I'm the guinea pig.
You're the guinea pig. Yep. Let's roll it out with you.
I'm ready.
All right. Number one thing most people don't know about Rose Browning.
All right. One thing most people don't know about me is that I love local pro wrestling.
I knew that.
Oh, well,
I knew that.
You knew, but most people don't know. And, my favorite group is RCW, Rubber City Wrestling. And I'm sure there's fans listening. So you have, Rick Lee, Michael Voorhees, Corbin Shadow, Johnny G. Love it. Yeah. I'll be the loudest person in the audience.
I can attest to that. I've been to one of these local matches with Rose. That is accurate.
That will be me. Yes.
All right. Number 2, favorite marketing celebrity.
Oh, well, this is without a doubt, Gary Vaynerchuk, just without a doubt. I mean, he talks about passion, work ethic, right? You're, hustling. And again, I know I said it earlier, but if you're waiting for Friday and you're hating Monday, you're at the wrong place.
Good old Gary V.
Good old Gary V.
All right, number 3, least favorite, and I'll give you a break. Doesn't have to be a marketing celebrity. Least favorite celebrity in general.
I don't know. You know what I mean? I
Come on, Rose.
Least favorite celebrity. Yeah, I don't know.
Think of a movie you hate. Or a TV show you hate.
I don't think I hate one. Yeah, I don't know. Especially in the marketing side, you know what I mean. I can't necessarily think of one, but here I'll think about it for a second. We'll come right back.
Okay. Biggest pet peeve.
All right. Biggest pet peeve is when people do not. Okay, I don't want to say don't work hard. So when somebody doesn't want to be where they are, and they bring negativity in every single day, that is a huge pet peeve.
All right. Good one. Number 5, if you could ban one social media platform from existence, which one?
None.
What?
No, but here's my answer. Okay, I would not ban one. Here's what I would ban. Okay? I would say stop using the wrong platform for the wrong thing. That's what I want to ban. So, know the platform, know the audience, know the demographic, know what you're doing on the platform before you push stuff out. That's what I would ban.
Not Twitter, not the cesspool that is Twitter. What is the use for Twitter these days? What purpose does Twitter serve other than, a home for trolls?
It is pretty bad. Yeah. I still don't know the least favorite celebrity. I'm going to have to think about that one.
All right. Fair enough. Well, anyway, you're the guinea pig. Well done. And that's what we're going to do with every one of our guests moving forward.
I love it.
All right. Well, anything else you want to cover? I think we're good for this pilot episode. So again, thank you to Your Business Marketer for stepping up and supporting the podcast. Wouldn't be here without them. Check them out, yourbusinessmarketer.com. And with that, we'll talk. Oh yeah, Rose, go ahead, please.
Yeah. So also, Director of Media, Ines Majori, just inesmajori.com if you want to learn more about us and if you want to reach out.
All right. Well, we will talk with you guys next time. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.